the green flag drops, it's kind of like playing a football game. The adrenaline is just, you know, a complete rush.
It's the best carnival ride that I've ever been on.
Well, I didn't come out here just to ride around. I'm pretty competitive. This is right to home for us, you know. This is my house.
Here, dreams can drive a racer to victory or straight into a concrete wall. To compete in this sport, you prepare for both. Hi, I'm Bill Holland at State Park Speedway near Wausau. If stock car racing is the fastest growing sports animal of the 90s, local racetracks like this are the backbone. There is a rich racing history here, and the new champions carrying on the sport's tradition are doing so running wide open.
I'm driving as hard as I can drive and as hard as the car wants to go.
It's tough. I mean, you're racing against some real good guys, been at it quite a while. It's tough out there.
It's a real adrenaline rush, I guess would be a good way to put it. You know, you get, your heart rate goes up a little bit, you try to concentrate, and you focus on racing and block other things out of your mind.
You come off the corners, and I mean, you're to the next corner before you even know it happened. I mean, it's a bullet. You know, you get on the half miles, it's the same thing. You know, you try to point the car and let her go, and you're hauling the mail, as they'd say.
You have to really concentrate on being smooth. If you drive it in too long, you're gonna have a slow lap. If you're braking too hard, you're gonna be a slow lap. You gotta really be calm and think about what you're doing.
What they're doing is wrestling a race car around a paved oval as fast as they're able. So close you can see the look on the driver alongside. Stock car racing in central Wisconsin is often a blacktop ballet, with an occasional slugfest thrown in.
We're a pretty tough group of drivers up here. We run every night of the week, pretty much Wednesday through Sunday, and you can go racing anywhere up here, where down south they might only run one night a week down there. So it's different. You know, they know you're tough when you come in here.
Kirby Kurth is one of the top drivers in central Wisconsin. The Nakusa truck drivers won his share and more.
Well, Larry Deach's Memorial was the most important to me, and then just the track championships we won so far. We did really had an outstanding season at 92, and I don't think right at this standpoint now we'll ever have another season like that, but won 3 championships in 1 year, so 92 is definitely a good year. And
yet here, competition is close. A winner one night can miss the feature race the next.
The feature up here is less than 1 second separating the front from the rear, so you got to be on your toes. You can't mess up.
It's very intense running up through the pack. It's fun, but it's, you know, a lot of concentrating.
Your heart's pumping real fast, but you try to think slow. You know, you try to slow it down to where the speed isn't really the factor. You know, but your heart is really pumping though. You're really excited, like.
And as the speed increases, the adrenaline rises. A field of stock cars racing into a sharp corner puts drivers on the edge.
Sometimes you start to drive over your head, over your capabilities, but most of the time you've got to drive just past the edge, and if you don't, you're not going to be fast.
Going over that edge can destroy more than a race car. It can bring emotions to a boil.
You look down in the hole there, and everything you've worked on is junk, you know, and it's kind of hard to take it. You know, I guess you got to move on.
I try to stay pretty calm, but if I get in a wreck or a scrape here and there, sometimes I lose my marbles, you know.
The last couple of years, I've been getting pretty hot-headed myself and saying a few words I shouldn't have. Basically, what I've been trying to do is when there is an accident, I'll get away from the car and I'll go back to the pits and I'll let either the wrecker crew take care of it, or one of my crew will go over and take care of the car and get it hooked up and get it back to the pits. That way I ain't got to worry about it and I get a chance to cool down.
Most of the time people either don't say anything or they blow their cool completely and they want to start a fight right away, but and I guess it's all right to get these things out in the open and express it, because otherwise you get in a crash crash on the racetrack. It's going to cost you a lot more money wrecking each other on the racetrack than it is just talking it out and hashing it out.
Yet in this sport that can mangle race cars in a matter of seconds, friendships often endure, long after the wreckage is cleared from the raceway.
You're mad, you know, your adrenaline's up, you know, it's like any sport, you know, when you make contact or, you know, you're excited at the moment, you're mad at the moment, but as soon as you have time to walk around, think about it, figure maybe it was half my fault, you know, it wasn't all his fault, you calm down, and by next week you can go talk to the guy.
Things get heated at times, everybody does, everybody's got a temper. Sooner or later you're going to hit the panic button, you know, but I'd say after everything's shut down, everybody's loaded up, nine times out of 10, it's totally forgotten. Everybody's cooled off, and it's just you get to the next race, it's a totally forgotten deal, you know.
I've argued with most everybody at the racetrack at one time or the other, and you get to know people better that way, and it's good.
Well, you don't want to get too mad at him because, like you say, next week you might be out there alongside that wall with that same guy, you know, and you got to trust him again, so you don't want to get too mad.
Especially when the cost of a race car is far greater than what's offered in prize money.
The cars are too expensive to be just running into each other and crashing each other. So everybody uses their head and tries to keep their car in one piece, and tries to keep the other guy's car in one piece too.
Everybody's got to work on their race cars, and when you crash it, this makes a lot more work, and I don't think anybody likes all that work.
And keeping a race car race ready is no small task. The work that goes into preparing a stock car may be immeasurable.
We spend countless hours every week on the car. I got a lot of guys on my pit crew, so we can get a lot of work done in a little bit of time. And we're out there every night working on the car, checking everything over, and any little part that's worn or bent gets replaced, you know, because we want to keep the car in top notch, and that's what it takes to run up front.
It takes a lot of hours working on the car, and a few dollars too. Got to have your car prepared before you even get here. That's what makes the difference.
And when the work pays off, the result is worth the effort.
Oh yeah, I'm always happy when I win. It's a big deal for me.
For others, it can be overwhelming, especially when the victory caps an otherwise frustrating season.
I was lost for words, to tell you the truth. I didn't even say anything about my sponsors. I just lost for words, just happy.
I want to thank everybody, the sponsors, and putting on a great show. This is great. All right, congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, the 25-lap feature winner, Todd Stapleman!
Finally broke the curse. It was 2 years dry without a feature win, and it felt good to win the big one, especially the Fest.
For some, the dream starts at a young age. 1995 is Jeremy Lepak's rookie year on the Central Wisconsin racing circuit. He's 17 years old.
Being a rookie, they like to push you around a little bit, but I think once you show them that you're here to race with them, they give you a little respect, but it takes some time.
For Jeremy, there will be victories and setbacks. In this sport, success doesn't come easy.
They're tough. I mean, it's a little harder than I expected it. But for my rookie year, I think I'm doing all right. I know things could be a little bit better as far as qualifying and things like that. I've been having some problems qualifying, but I'm having a lot of fun.
They know he is a rookie and stuff like that, but there's been a lot of guys running him tight, and they ain't giving him no slack, but that's what they should do.
You won't scare Larry Lepak. He survived one of the most frightening crashes ever seen at State Park Speedway, when his car burst into flames when the fuel cell ruptured.
It's just one of those deals, you're on the brake and you're on the gas, and I got tagged once from the back, and then the second time there was a bumper protruding from the front end, and it stuck through my fuel cell, and it just created a 4-inch hole. And my own exhaust lit the fire.
It was scary because I was right next to Larry in turn one, and it leaves an impression on you, that's for sure, because it's one of those things we don't expect fires too often, and all of a sudden you got one, and then you get into a panic state, and it was scary. I mean, the flames were, I'd say, 20, 25 feet high. It ain't every day you see fire like that.
I was pretty relaxed until I noticed how hot I was getting when I felt the heat on my back. Other than that, I was going real slow until I seen Bear, the pit steward. He was over there going nuts trying to get me out of the car. I didn't have the slightest idea why until I seen it in the mirror. Then I could see the flames coming up the side of the car.
For Larry Lepak, getting back into a race car was no problem. Yet this tough veteran driver won't watch his teenage son race from the pits.
I don't sit and watch them. I look at the car. I do something back in the pits. I have done a plover once, and my heart went nuts, and I can't handle that. It just don't work.
Jeremy's task, to get better with each race. It isn't easy being a rookie.
A lot of learning and a lot of mistakes. Crashed a few times in the beginning of the year and just learn from your mistakes and try to do better.
Jesse Hayes learned one lesson the hard way. In this sport, there's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide when things go wrong. Jesse's another second-generation driver, carrying the number his dad Rick raced with for years.
It's been a little pressure on me. I've been trying real hard to fill his shoes. Maybe been a little hard on myself, but my dad told me just to run my own race and do what I can do. I've been around racing since I was little, just trying to follow my dad's footsteps, and if I can do half as good as him, I'll be happy.
I watch him pretty close. Hopefully he stays out of trouble, reads his traffic. If he can do that, he'll be all right.
Of course, Rick Hayes wouldn't let Jesse race without getting back behind the wheel a few times himself. And for a few nights, it was just like old times for the former champion.
It seemed like it was just yesterday rather than 5 years. You never lose the feeling, I don't think. Just like Tom Reffner racing today, and guys that I'd raced with back then are still racing. You never lose it. The love for that sport never goes away.
In this sport, experience is big.
And I'm having a blast, and I love all these guys. And matter of fact, I'm number 88. I got that from Tom Reffner from 1971.
But in 1996, Rory Melbinger is trying something completely different, racing on blacktop after 20 years on dirt.
A lot of dirt tracks that are closing around Wisconsin, central part of the state, and there's a lot of Wausau, Rapids, Marshfield are all blacktop, all close by. I've got raising my boy, and we like to be home at night instead of traveling till 5 o'clock in the morning getting home.
There are scores of drivers who travel countless miles sharing the same dream.
I definitely see myself getting better. I think one of these years we're going to finally make a statement and really do something big. I hope it comes pretty soon, but if I got to wait, I'm going to have to wait for it.
Wisconsin Rapids racer Jeff Weinfurter knows about paying dues. Today, he's moving up in the sport.
We were down in Florida this spring and tried running some Arco stuff last year, and just seat time. The more you get, it seems the faster you go.
There's no glory running in the pack. No headlines for the driver who goes down to defeat. That's where a racer's inner strength is tested.
It's very tough. You get to the point where, why am I doing this? I'm spending money and I'm working on the car every night. Why don't I just give it up and do something else? And then all of a sudden, when it looks the worst, you'll have a night that, hey, I was competitive and I did well, and man, let's keep trying it.
There's no quit in Wausau's M.G. Gajewski. He's back racing after a near-fatal highway crash.
I had a broken left foot, I had a broken femur, I had a broken left arm, a broken right hand, broken right ankle, and a bunch of mouth damage.
After somebody takes a wreck like that, it's hard to, even think about getting back into a race car. He was so banged up, and it's pretty remarkable that he's getting back into it.
First thing I wanted to know how my wife was, and I guess the next question on my wife, will I be able to go racing again?
Port Edwards racer Bobby Trzynski has also fought back after an injury. Now, one of the veterans on this circuit, he's as fast as he's ever been.
If you don't learn every time you go out, you're going to be lost. I've listened. I've raced with Trickle for years. I've helped him, and he's helped me, and all the listening finally paid off. And I would say most races are won and lost in the garage, and I learned a lot on how to make the car go fast, because if you're not right when you get here, you aren't going nowhere.
To run up front here, it takes more than smart, skill, and speed. There's an intangible a winner can't do without.
Once you get behind the wheel, then you're there to race, and you forget all about everything else except that car and that race. And yeah, you're right. There isn't no in between when you get in behind the wheel.
Sometimes it's not fun, though. But basically the competition, competing against others, trying to beat the others. That's what it's all about.
It's the competition. You're competing against the best drivers that have been racing for years and years, and that's just exciting. Acceleration, horsepower, it's all exciting.
It's that need to compete that brings Kevin Steppen back to the Speedway in the spring of 1996. After a 6-year absence, he's once again driving to the front.
Just never lost the urge to race. Once you started, it seems to be in your blood, and it's hard to quit. I don't really want to finish second. I know it's going to be a while before I'll be competitive, but that's why we're here, is to win.
Kevin Steppen was always a great runner. He ran with Larry Deachens and all the guys here back before I ever made it in the feature, so he's a good runner.
The driver of car 62 is also on the comeback trail. Bob Zinda's back behind the wheel in 1996 after hanging up his helmet more than 2 decades ago. The number 62, it matches Bob's age.
My health is good. My reactions are good. I feel that's always worth something. And I don't know, I didn't know that I was going to try this. I started out last year in a pure stock, and this opportunity came to drive this car, and people that own the car decided that they thought I could do it. I said, well, I'll give it a shot.
But this kind of comeback isn't easy. For help, Bob can get pointers from his neighbor, Wayne Gietzen. Wayne made a similar comeback after many years away from the steering wheel.
Raced for latter part of 69, the first part of 70, 71, 72. Then I kind of fell out of it for a while and come back into it in 1992.
And if you ask him why, Wayne's ready with an answer.
Look at Joe Shear, how many years he's raced. Tom Reffner and everybody, Bob coming back. It's just hard to get it out of your system. It just never goes away.
You might think it takes a pretty tough guy to stick it out in this sport. If so, you'd be half right. Meet the driver of car 5, Renee Shenaha.
Started out with just ordinary car off the street, ran that until the wheels fell out, and built up a Schwartzman car and ran that one, and Steve Paoli raced that. After I was through with it, I bought Marv Marzovka's car.
Renee's not some novelty promoter's gimmick. She's a race driver who worked her way up over the years.
They treat me as what I am, as just another driver. When I go out there, I'm just another driver. I don't expect favors. I don't get favors. I get hit by some of the guys, and they hit each other the same way.
It is a highly competitive sport, yet drivers depend on each other, on the track and off.
We've probably got some of the best people out here now as far as fellow racers and than we had in a lot of years. And there's not anybody here that if I needed a part, I could go to anybody and ask if they got it. I got it. It's and it's vice versa. It's everybody helps everybody pretty much.
Everybody seems to be pretty cool about it. They're always willing to help out if you break. They always, you need a part, they've got it. They'll let you use it.
Kind of like a big family, all the racers put together, but yet it's at a very competitive level.
This is probably the friendliest division in racing that I've ever competed in. Everyone gets along, we help each other out when we have trouble, and it's a good thing. We can talk to everyone next to you in the pit and have a good time.
Gary Bach is a second-generation race driver. Here, that's not unusual. A given night may see a half-dozen racing sons following their father's tire tracks.
I enjoy the competition of it, to get out there and run with the guys, and the speed of being out there. I don't know, and also to keep the tradition going of racing in central Wisconsin. I want to be a part of it.
I'm one of 3 brothers that race, so our whole family goes at it. The shed stays pretty busy during the week.
My dad raced 15, 20 years, and I decided to try it and see what I could do with it. And so far it's going pretty good. We got a lot to learn yet, but we're trying to keep up.
I actually started a little late because I was helping my dad and my brother a lot, and I've always had the interest and the desire, and it's something I always wanted to do, and that's what I'm working for right now.
There's a lot of second-generation racers out, and some do better than others, and everyone respects them for what they are.
Sometimes the pit area looks like a family gathering. When Vesper's Steve Gress gets ready to race, his brother Monty is doing the same alongside.
We've all kind of helped each other out over the years. When we're on the racetrack, we race each other just as hard as we do anybody else. I'd rather have Steve on my crew, to tell you the truth. I really don't want to race against him, but I care how he does, and we try to help each other out yet, but it was a lot nicer when he was working for me.
When Jeff and Greg Weinfurter of Wisconsin Rapids are racing, it's another case of brother against brother.
I think we all learn from each other. We don't keep any secrets in the shed. Somebody finds something out, we all kind of jump on it, and it keeps everybody going a little bit faster.
And here, when somebody starts going faster, other people take notice.
I think Scott Wimmer and Wayne Breitenfeld have that. I think they were born with it.
Lyle Nowak, Breitenfeld, Kirby. I mean, I look up at Wimmer because he's younger than me. I helped him out when he started coming around. The kid's he's phenomenal.
There's guys like Knoblauch that they just seem to be naturals, and they hit the right setups, and the old guys go in and ask them what they're doing, you know.
Mark Mackesy, Joe Krakowski, Wayne Lohnholz, of course Kevin Peterson, and Wayne Breitenfeld. These guys can all drive a car.
Keith Witt is always real strong. He's consistent, clean driver. I think Keith is going to be strong no matter where he goes or when he races. He's always strong.
You get the idea. Racing in central Wisconsin means going against tough competition night after night.
Well, we got a lot of young horses here coming up through the pack. You have Kirby Kurth, you have Kevin Peterson, just to mention a couple of the guys that are really coming on strong. Mark Mackesy's been doing real well, and of course you can't forget those Bach kids. They come on strong too.
So it's something special to win a championship. In 1995, Wausau's Wayne Breitenfeld won his second State Park Speedway track title, as well as the overall Central Wisconsin Racing Association championship.
Central Wisconsin is the home grounds of a lot of top drivers like Dick Trickle and Ted Musgrave raced Central Wisconsin, and there's just a lot of top-notch drivers that came from Central Wisconsin, and I'm proud to be a part of that.
In '96, it's another track title at State Park, the championship at Marshfield, and another CWRA championship.
This year I had a lot less pressure than the year before because last year it had been so many years I've gone second and third place finishes, so there was a lot of pressure to finish in the top spot, and this year we just came at it a little more relaxed, and I think that kind of helped out in the long run, and that's why we were so far ahead at the end.
It's quite possible Breitenfeld's chief rival is Kevin Peterson of Big Flats, winner of back-to-back track championships at Golden Sands Speedway.
That's our biggest drive, is to prove that we're the #1 car to beat.
But the '95 season was a test of the spirit as well as a test on the speedway. Kevin lost his father unexpectedly before the season began.
It's rough. We get through it day by day. One thing, me and my dad started this about 10 years ago. We won a championship. He was there, and that means a lot to me that he was there for our championship.
Kevin Peterson's proven how tough he is to beat at Golden Sands. But in '96, the track title goes to a veteran, Bobby Terzinski, the Port Edwards Aces' first track championship.
Had more fun. My kids go with me. We've had a lot of fun. The fans are all happy for me. Of course, you can see the crowd really backs me here. I love them all, boy. I'll tell you, they've been watching me for a lot of years, and they wanted me to do good.
With the tough competition and years of tradition at Wisconsin Dells Motor Speedway, who'd look for a rookie to win a championship? But that's just what John Zimmerman of Markesan did in 1995.
It's incredible, you know, and it's something that never can get taken away from me. You know, I won it, and I won it fair and square, and, you know, the feeling, it's, you know, it took probably 6 months before I actually realized what I actually done. You know, it just, you know, I didn't comprehend what happened until the middle of the winter.
In 1996, youth is served at the Dells Motor Speedway. Scott Wimmer of Wausau wins the track title at the age of 21.
We've been working at it for 3 years now, and finally we had a good start to the year, and we're slowing down a little bit, but we're going to get it back, and hopefully we can win this one.
Wausau's Lyle Nowak can claim 3 championships in the '90s at Tomahawk Speedway, as well as 3 titles in 3 divisions at State Park Speedway. Remarkable, since this winner lost his right hand years ago and hasn't slowed down.
I don't think Lyle looks at it as a disability, and I don't think I do either, because he's probably one of the best drivers around the Wausau area, and everybody respects him for that.
I'd race beside him or inside him, outside him, doesn't make no difference. I don't care where he is if I'm behind him.
he's just good to race with.
We've had to pay a lot more closer attention to the little details of the car, the steering, the front end geometry, trying to make it steer easier for me, because the days of me manhandling and wrestling a car around a racetrack are over.
But finesse only goes so far. Then it takes toughness to keep going.
You can sit and feel sorry for yourself, but that doesn't really do any good. I'd rather just go out and I don't even try to prove it to anybody anymore. I guess I have that desire to prove it to myself, to do good. We got that fire burning, and that's what it takes.
A quality a champion can't do without. Some top race drivers will spend their entire career in central Wisconsin.
I'm happy racing in Wisconsin. I've traveled to other states and other racetracks, and it's always good to come back home and race with drivers that I know and be in front of the fans that are my friends and neighbors, and I think that's what it's all about. And I'm happy racing here, and I plan on staying here for quite a while.
But others want to move up to bigger challenges against tougher competition. And over the years, central Wisconsin's finest have made their mark in other racing circuits. The ARTCO Challenge Series draws top drivers from all over the Midwest.
One of the main things is just getting fast, and getting fast in a hurry. You don't have much time for practice and qualifying and for the race, so you have to really get her going.
We run all over the country. We've run some Hooters races, we've run some ASA races, and I'll tell you what, the ARTCO people are far and above the competition that I've seen.
You won't find a tougher competitor than two-time series champ Jim Weber. Even in his 50s, the Minnesota standout can walk away from a bruising wreck one day and charge to victory the next.
Well, I work hard at trying to stay fit. We snowmobile all winter long. I play a lot of sports. I do a lot of hunting and walking, and I probably don't look like it, but I'm in pretty good shape, and I take a lot of pride in what I do. I love racing. I love the people I'm with. I love the fans. It's a great sport, and I hope to be around for a few more years.
Joe Shear's also part of the 50-something crowd. He's a two-time series champion entering the 1996 season. Soft-spoken off the track, relentless on it.
ARTCO Series, I think, has got the toughest drivers and the toughest competition in the whole United States. So I think when you win an ARTCO race, you've done something. Everybody runs hard, but nobody does any deliberate banging or anything. I mean, everybody gives if a guy gets out of shape, they give him a break, and they respect each other, and I like that.
Running against top short-track drivers like Shear and Weber is tough, especially for the young driver.
It does a lot for my confidence, but it's still tough week in and week out because these guys are the best here.
When they drive by, it's intimidating. It is, because they're legends. You know, we've been racing against these people for a long time, but they've been around a lot longer than I've been alive. So these guys have a lot more experience. If we can beat these guys this weekend, we got something to be happy with. You know?
ARTCO racing's not for the timid. Things happen fast on the short tracks the series comes to, and the son of a legendary linebacker brings a football mentality to the sport.
You know, I was a defensive player, so our job was to tackle the ball carrier, but we couldn't just tunnel vision on the ball carrier. We had blockers down at our feet, or certain stunts we had to run or something like that. So, yeah, you know, people kind of laugh when I tell them it's very similar, but it is.
George is the 1995 ARTCO Rookie of the Year, who knows what it is to dream and what it means to work.
Right now, this is my own deal and stuff, and it's kind of hard with a family and, you know, trying to line up the crews and get in the car here. You know, it's like I'm the lead singer in the band, and I'm also a driver to Winnebago, so it makes it kind of tough.
Here, the learning curve is as sharp as any you'll find on a paved open.
Here, I try to stay out of the way a little bit and go when I can go when the car is good. So kind of just trying to learn from the good guys, and when I can keep up, I keep up.
Many racers have come from many states away that want to race in Wisconsin, because Tom Reffner, Dick Trickle, Marv Marzufka are all great racers that made Wisconsin as great as it is. This is the state to learn to race so you can go everywhere else and win.
The competition is a lot stronger here than it would be on a regular Saturday night, so you really got to have your act together. The quality of the drivers is 100% better. The cars are faster, so you really got to be ready. You got to have the right equipment to be fast.
In 1995, Mosinese Kevin Sawinski had the right equipment and more. with an eye on the championship all season long.
Definitely we want to go further, you know. It's been a goal of mine since I was a little kid, you know, watching guys like Dick Trickle and Marv Marzufka and some of the guys I know you've interviewed over the years. So, you know, it's always been a goal, and, you know, I think, yeah, deep in your mind you think you can do it. You know, every driver thinks he's the best, so I think we can do it.
As the season wore on, Sawinski's consistent finishes kept him on top of the point standings and kept his team focused on the goal.
You can tell it's winding down because the whole crew gets a little tenser. They watch the points a little closer, and you know, I keep telling them, don't worry about the points. Let's just worry about finishing, and if we finish good, then we're going to win the points.
At the season finale in lacrosse, a grinding first-turn crash eliminates point leader Steve Carlson. Another top-5 finish clinches the Artco title for Sawinski.
Kevin is a super nice guy and a super good racer. He's got super good equipment, so he's always going to be tough.
Tough enough to try his hand at the American Speed Association circuit.
The Artco Championship Series run was an excellent boost for us. It enabled us to run and get to know some of the ASA people and get to know some of the owners, which gave us this opportunity that we got right now.
And the Mosinee native would make the most of his opportunity, winning back-to-back races at mid-season and claiming the 1996 ASA Rookie of the Year title.
You count Kenny Wallace, Mark Martin, Johnny Benson Jr., all these guys have kind of had this rookie prestige stored upon themselves. So it shows you, if you can do this, that other people are watching and you can possibly move up in different ranks, and that's definitely a goal of ours.
For Kevin Sawinski, joining the ASA circuit means more wheel-to-wheel battles with drivers like Tony Raines. The Milwaukee Standouts white number 87 is familiar to both the ASA and Artco series.
We run V6s, they run V8s. Our cars are a little narrower and a little taller, but they're basically the same. Same type of suspension, and a lot of the parts will interchange. I run about 7 to 10 of those Artco shows when our ASA schedule will permit it. But I tell you, they're just as tough and as good a drivers as we have here.
Tony's climb up the ladder has seen a slide or two, but the 1996 ASA champion is a driver many look up to. Ironically, he looks up to a pair of Michigan's finest.
I would like to be like Bob Seneker as far as being smooth and being consistent, and I'd like to be as hard charging as Mike Eddy. If you could put those two together, I think you could beat them both, you know. But you got to have a good car, and you got to have good equipment on any day to beat them, because they've always got that.
Not a bad idea, since nobody's won more ASA races than Bob Seneker, and nobody's won more series championships than 7-time title holder Mike Eddy. Tough customers year in and year out.
It's as tough as competition as you're going to get anywhere. I mean, there's any one of 15 cars out there that's capable of winning, and you know, it's just real tough racing.
That's what we're here for, trying to win each race. That's our goal, is to win.
When they come to the Milwaukee Mile, they're competing on one of the most historic and challenging speedways in the nation.
I love this racetrack. I mean, it's a really nice place to come and race. You know, it's big and it's flat.
And you're going so fast. You go down the straightaways at Milwaukee here, it seems like you got all day, you know, exaggerating, but you got all day to get down to the other end. So it's just a feeling you don't get at the short tracks that we're normally racing on.
For some, like veteran Dennis Lampman, it's a high-speed homecoming.
Racing here at Milwaukee, thinking back of when we first came here, I was sitting in turn 1, watching the Chevys and the Dodges running the Ford back in '63, and thought to myself, this would be a place I'd like to be. And here we are today racing here, so it's a great feeling to be back home.
There are many personalities on this circuit, among them the Zero Hero, Tom Jones. Now in his 50s, the Illinois veteran remains a fan favorite.
I'm 52. I feel like I'm 42. I mean, I don't, you know, it's all your physical condition, your mental condition, you know, and I never did get tired. The heat never bothered me, so that helps out a lot.
Mike Miller may be one of the most interesting drivers on the ASA circuit. He races out of Georgia these days, competitive again after an 8-year layoff from racing.
we were off for 8 years, and I mean, these guys kept advancing, and I was, wasn't around the picture. So we're struggling to get very, very competitive again.
And he's a good driver, and I think that competitive edge is what drives you to succeed. You don't give up until you've got the fastest car or until you win a race, and Mike's one of those type of guys. He's not going to come here and run second or third. He's coming to every race with an honest attempt to win.
It wouldn't take long to become a force on the circuit. Miller won in ASA in 1996 and never lost his affection for the fans. Fans he remembers from the days when he called Wisconsin Rapids his hometown.
You have to have fan support, and that leads us to the next thing, and fans in Wisconsin are the very best. I mean, there's no question about that.
In 1995, those fans watched Brian Refner take the ASA series by storm.
Our goal in the beginning of the year was to finish in top 5 at each race, and that's pretty much what we've done. And as long as you keep finishing in top 5 and don't have any trouble, you're going to finish up in the points. And the other top drivers have had trouble along the way, and that landed us at the points leader.
Not an easy challenge in a sport where mistakes are costly, and trouble strikes in a split second. But Brian Refner seized the moment to win the 1995 ASA championship.
I never expected to be an ASA. I was working as a pipe fitter and working to race. That was what I was doing, and the opportunity came along for this. I happened to be at the right spot at the right time and took off and ran with it.
Brian raced his way up on the central Wisconsin short tracks, blossoming into a standout in the early 90s, and learning from drivers like his dad, a racing legend with more than 30 years behind the wheel.
I think he's got a little more less temper than I got. I think he can handle guys chopping him a little more and stuff like that I can't. But I think we probably drive close to the same as each other.
I have a little different driving styles. Tom's more of a charger because he never was in a lot of long races, and Brian had to settle down and get into 300 lappers, 400 lappers. So he used to have a temper. I think we all did when we started. And he went into ASA there, Artco first and then ASA, and that's what calms you down, because it doesn't do any good to have a temper because you don't go any faster.
I could have never got here without my dad. That was probably in the early years. There's people that start racing because that's what they wanted to do. I started racing because I was around it and just had the love for it. You have to run them years at Golden Sands to get enough experience to learn what it takes to make a race car work. I've been involved in racing for quite a few years and know the chassis. I've used them years to gain good people to back me. You can't do it without a good crew, and just got a fantastic crew this year.
The result? A championship season for Brian Refner.
If you told me in the beginning of the year, Brian, I first predict you being the points leader, I'd say, well, that's great, but we got to keep on going and worry about each race one by one.
Brian's been around racing quite a while. His dad's raced, very successful, and Brian's come a long way since his rookie year last year. He's turned into a real tough competitor, and where he's at in the points shows it.
And the championship would lead Brian on to bigger challenges in 1996. He's one of several racers from the Badger State moving up in the sport.
Winning the ASA championship was a high, and then to get this ride with Ernie Irvin and Mark Simo, just kept getting a higher and a high, it's something that when you're in racing, you just want to keep going forward.
Sat on the outside pole at Talladega and Daytona, so those were great accomplishments. Probably the most exciting thing, even though it's not much of an accomplishment, but we tried to get in the Brickyard 400 the first time they ran it, and although we missed it by 0.3 of a second, it still was awesome just being at the Brickyard.
But whose racing accomplishments can rival Dick Trickle's? Some believe the Wisconsin Rapids racing legend is the greatest short track driver ever. Now in his 50s, Dick Trickle has no plans to slow down.
Busy is happy, The alternative ain't too good, so I enjoy being busy and, being schedule heavy. I've been that way all my life, and I think it's the nature of the beast to just keep on moving, so I'm having fun with it, and we are competitive.
He's a good man. He's also real approachable, and I think that's a good quality to have. Patient with guys like myself that'll come up and ask for opinions, and he's fair on the racetrack, so he's a good role model for everybody.
Nowhere is that more true than on the Central Wisconsin racing circuit. Dick Trickle's still a big influence on today's champions.
As he seasoned himself, he learned that winning by 2 laps is no different than winning by 2 car lengths, you know, and he started saving equipment, and he was a lot of fun to be with, and always fun. He had a fan following around here that nobody can outdo.
Trickle would come out and could use somebody else's car, and he'd still win the feature with it.
Dick Trickle is great. There's no doubt about it. Best racer that ever lived in my eyes, but he had a jump on everybody. He had better equipment. He had more knowledge. He raced Wednesday here, Thursday at Wausau, Friday at Madison, Saturday at the Dells, Sunday at Slinger or Selected Specials, and he went all over the country.
July of 1995 marks Dave Marcus' return to racing in central Wisconsin. And the regulars at Dells Motor Speedway have their hands full.
Marcus, I followed him to the front, and he was definitely intimidating, and I liked to be right on his rear bumper. That was the spot to be.
Now in his 50s, Marcus' racing achievements cover more than 30 years behind the wheel.
I didn't have no idea that I'd ever run that long, or I didn't have no visions of setting any records for the most races or number of starts or anything like that. It's just racing's been my whole life. I enjoy the sport, and just now those records are just starting to happen. That's just how it is.
You can't take anything away from him. He's been there a long time. He keeps doing his thing and doing it on pretty much a shoestring, and everybody respects him down there. You can ask any of them. He's got his own style, and he does it, and he works at it, and he does a lot with nothing.
He's still capable behind the wheel, but when Dave Marcus looks to the future, he also looks back.
Someday I'm going to have to put somebody in my car. I know I can't keep driving forever, and if I can, I would really like for it to be somebody from up in this part of the country, because I know how tough it is to make it down there, and I feel like these guys are good, hard racers.
As proof, look at the other car number 5 on the track. Edgerton's Rich Bickle Jr. is another Wisconsin driver who's moved on to bigger challenges.
My 13th year race, and I started Daytona 500. I just couldn't believe it had that happened. I mean, that was a heck of a dream and an accomplishment we made, and it's a situation right now that's it's my 19th year, and I mean, I'm farther where I wanted to be, thought I was going to be. So I figured after that day at Daytona, every day is a bonus.
Oh, he's a really good driver. I mean, I've known that for years. The short track level like this is about one of the fastest guys around, and now he's showing his talent in the bigger leagues.
I love coming back and doing the weekly deal or the specials like this, because I mean, I don't get to come up back. Used to, the first year I moved to Charlotte, I come up here like 14 times. I was up here more than I was down there. Now I get up 2 or 3 times a year, and it's just fun to come back. And a crowd like this, I got to think back in the late 70s, I seen a crowd here at the Dells Motor Speedway like this, so it's gonna be a neat night.
One of the top drivers of the past is still a regular at Wisconsin Dells, but Jim Sauter isn't driving. In the summer of '96, he's helping his teenage son, the youngest racing Sauter, get his career started.
Beginning of the year was quite a learning experience for us. Me being a rookie and all, it took some time to get going, but we're gaining on him right now. Jay has helped me tremendously with a lot of parts from down south. Tim's helped me get around the place, and my dad helped me build the car, and he's helped me set it up, and we're in good shape. With all 3 of them helping me, I'll be a good one.
It's always hard to simmer a young driver down because they don't link their brain with their foot yet. It's all foot. But John is very aggressive. He's going to be a good driver. Just got to tone him down a little bit, let him relax a little bit, and let the car tell him how fast he can go.
The entry-level divisions are a place to learn, and the road to success can be a rough one. Low-dollar racing doesn't mean there's any less excitement. In fact, many drivers strap in and get ready for a wild ride.
Door to door with fastest cars here, it's just crazy. I mean, it's fun, and then it's nerve-wracking because it's just so close competition. One night you could be fast time, and the next night you could be 6th.
We're racing pretty hard out there. To get them from the back to the front, you gotta stay real tight, and you gotta go as fast as it'll go.
Cross that line and things can get real interesting. And that's putting it mildly. Of course, racing at this level attracts some interesting drivers.
Very aggressive. Very, very aggressive driver. If I'm not in the front within 5 laps, something's wrong. If I feel there's a hole where I can get in, I'll go. If it's 3 wide, I'm usually the guy on the outside going 3 wide. It's instinct.
Driving hard is a necessity at any level of racing. But to last, a driver has to know when to slow and when to go. And even in his 50s, Rudolph's Tom Reffner is still feisty and still fast.
Tom's a competitor. I'd say he's tough. You know, they say your sense of sight and hearing go, but your sense of touch stays. And if you watch Tom Reffner in an automobile, I think he still has a sense of touch.
For the 96 racing season, the picture changes. Tom's sharing time behind the wheel with his son Baird.
We're pretty excited this year. Baird's going to drive it over at Marshfield, and I'm going to drive it at Golden Sands here, and hopefully everything works out.
There are bound to be a few rough moments, but all in all, Baird Reffner is holding his own, even though it's his first time in a late model stock car.
Being a pretty good year, ended up 18th in that in points, and a fairly good year. I had a few ups and downs in that, but you got to take the downs, and you got more highs than anything.
An effort that's keeping a famous name and number out on the speedway. The racing season can be a long haul.
After the CWRA hunt, we're going to be at all the races this year, roughly about 70 of them in 20 weeks. We're going to be pretty busy.
A driver may compete in dozens of races over the course of a season. Some are bigger than others, and a few are truly special. One such event is held here at State Park Speedway every summer. It's a memorial race for hometown hero Larry Deachins. The Wausau racing champion lost his life in a 1981 crash, but those who knew him will never forget Larry Deachins.
I don't know anyone in the world that wouldn't have good memories about Larry. He was one of the best drivers we've ever raced with, and fast car always, and a real good man on the racetrack.
Larry was the kind of a guy that always had a smile for you, and you know, would always talk to you, and just liked people, and that made him really popular.
Sometimes racers are a different bird, you know. Larry was just a normal person. Good. He was very good to everybody that talked to him. He took the time. He took the time with the people, with the fans, and to me, that's what helped the sport where it is today.
The memorial includes 2 feature races, 25 laps in length. But this event is far more than just a race. It's a time to remember.
It still sends a chill through my body. You know, a guy just gets all choked up. I mean, he was a well-liked driver, and it just feels great to compete in a race that's you know, for him and for his name, and you want to do the best you can.
Kind of put your head on straight once in a while. And then you want to run good for it because it is in your memory, you know, and it just I don't know, it's really hard to explain, but it's always a special deal.
As a driver, you try to role model yourself after a guy like that. You know, as a kid growing up, I can remember him coming to our place and Dad and him riding to the race meetings together. And always pretty soft-spoken, but just a gentleman, always a gentleman. And as long as he's got that name with him, I think everybody wants to be a little bit like that.
Larry was just a all-around nice racer. He was helpful to everyone, and he was one of the best drivers in Wisconsin, and to win a memorial race to him just has a lot of prestige to it, and I'd be real honored to have the trophy.
One car is unfamiliar to the crowd at State Park Speedway, but Washington native Bob Fox remembers who first talked him into racing here many years ago.
I'm from Washington State, and so I talked to him a little bit then, and then I called him up on the phone, and he said, well, I said, I don't know if I have the right car for the rules or not. He said, just come on back here. He said, we'll make sure you get to go racing. Heck of a good guy, and you know, that's why I'm here tonight. You know?
But no one wants to win Larry Deachins' race more than the young man whose car carries his number.
He was just an awesome driver. Nobody can compare to him. I just try my best and stay out of trouble. He was pretty good at that, and you know, just always try my hardest.
Scott Wimmer is Deachins' nephew, a young driver making his own name while keeping his uncle's legacy alive.
Yeah, it's pretty emotional, you know. I didn't get to watch him race that much. I remember bits and pieces of it, and you know, it's just, yeah, it's really sad he's gone, and I just wish he was still around.
Before the feature race, the cars parade by with the pole position left open in memory of Larry Deachins.
Yeah, he was my hero, and when we made that parade lap when everybody was supposed to be silent, then
that was something special. I was telling the pit crew before, I'll be 70 years old, and I'll still be coming out here to do this, just to run this one race.
And those who've won the memorial know it's much more than just another race.
I think it's really special that they do that. It's, you know, the memory, to know that a guy built his name up and has a memory like that is, I think, the best.
For me, this is the biggest race of the year because it's one that we've been trying for a long time and come so close so many times, and we're just really excited to win the award and be able to take home the trophy.
At Golden Sands Speedway, another memorial race honors a fallen champion. Lyle Nabafelt died in a crash in 1973, and more than 2 decades later, his memory still stirs strong emotions.
I don't know anybody that didn't like Lyle. Lyle was one of the best.
Definitely, this is an emotional night. It keeps us reminded that something can happen to us too, but we should work on our cars and keep them safe. And I'll guarantee you, when they drop that flag for that 55 lapper, there'll be a tear in my eye.
It's the only time Dave Cox of Janesville will race here all season. But for him, this is much more than just a race.
Lyle Nabafelt is the reason that I race. And I was inspired by him from the time I was 5 years old. I'd walked to the racetrack 2.5 miles away and back every Friday night at Griffith Park Speedway to watch him race.
Today, Dave Cox carries Lyle Nabafelt's last number, 55. Fitting, since Dave is also Nabafelt's son-in-law.
My wife is his daughter, and Sherry's just been so dedicated to her dad through all these years. And when she was growing up, he had always taken her to the races too, you know, and they just always had a special father-daughter relationship. And Sherry and I were childhood sweethearts, and we got together just a few years ago and got married, and together we're keeping his memory alive.
For the driver and crew of Car 78G, every race night is special. It's owned by the family of the late Gary Porter, a Wisconsin Rapids driver killed in a highway crash.
It's a memorial car, and it's for my brothers and in memory of them all, and you know, we miss them dearly and stuff, and my parents just, they need that. They need to see the car out there. If the car's not out there, it's like you haven't gone to church that Sunday.
Over the years, a number of different drivers have wheeled the Porter car, but Mike Cox Jr. may have driven it to its biggest victory, a feature win only days after Jim and Gary's brother Bobby lost his life in 1994.
I never won a feature before, and to win it after he died like that for the family, that was the most awe-inspiring thing that I could believe. I thought time I'd win a feature, but not in that way. Especially on the outside, you're running 30 laps on the outside. It was just a good hard race, and I was just, I don't know, it's just unbelievable.
Sometimes an ordinary night of racing can turn into a special occasion. In the summer of 1995, Rich Summers of Stevens Point prepares to race at Golden Sands Speedway. It's 6 years since he last drove a race car, but Rich Summers' quarter-century experience behind the wheel quickly pays off.
Up for third. Experience shows that Summers are out on the outside.
And for Rich, running up front is nothing new.
The Red, White, and Blue Series in '74, I believe 6 Thursday night championships at Fox River Racing Club. A couple of 100-lap features over at the Minnesota State Fair in '73 and '4. Slinger, I guess I've won, you know, wherever I've run.
Rich is a veteran. That'll come back to him. He's raced a lot of long races, and you can't shake him. You know, he's been there. I think it's great. I think us middle-aged guys, I'm one of the younger middle-aged guys, but it's nice for us to all come back.
Every driver wants to win, to beat the best. But some show their true character after enduring the worst. It's the summer of 1996 at Golden Sands Speedway.
We come out of corner 4 and I got a little bit loose, and I collected it, and then we happened to get 3 wide, you know, and then I went up over the top of Jeff Weinford's right rear quarter panel, and I was airborne, and all I could think is I was going into the stands, and then we hit. I was knocked out cold.
And only seconds later,
the car had exploded. That's what woke me up, and I looked, and there was Randy Barcher and Dwayne Clark pulling me out and spraying me down so I wouldn't burn up.
quick action by track steward Randy Botcher may have saved an unconscious driver.
We always carry an extinguisher to put him out, and the car was engulfed in flames. The driver compartment was just filled with gasoline, and we got lucky and we got the fire knocked down, and I had help getting Todd out.
If it wasn't for him and all the crew helping out, we'd have been in the hospital for a long time.
Yet only 3 weeks later, Todd Stapleman is back at the Speedway. Driving a borrowed car, his drive to a storybook finish runs straight into a dose of reality. Undaunted, Stapleman finishes the night with a car that looks much different by the evening's end. But looks aren't everything. The violent crash that marred the 1995 Artco Oktoberfest race at La Crosse tore the right side right off Steve Holshousen's race car. Many wondered if their hometown hero could continue. What he did is still being talked about.
We came from the back, running the leaders down, and got spun out the second time, and then came from the back one more time to finish third. One heck of a race car. I can't remember when I've had a dominating car like that before. Even though we finished third, it was a lot of fun. All the fans in my backyard, they were just going nuts, and it was crazy.
That crash at La Crosse ended Steve Carlson's race, his season, and his hopes for an Artco championship. But only for a year. Carrying a new number, Carlson came back strong to win an Artco championship in '96. His approach doesn't change.
Well, you got to get to the front. You got to drive hard. Just about every car that starts the race could win that race. It's tough.
Maybe it's that kind of effort that draws thousands of fans to races in central Wisconsin and makes such an impression on drivers throughout the sport.
The best drivers around, cleanest racers there is. You know, they definitely run with their hearts up there.
Is the driver of today better than the racer of yesteryear? Well, that's an argument that can't be answered. But these new champions are leaving their own mark on the sport, setting standards that others will one day be measured against. I'm Bill Holland. Thanks for watching.